Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Elite Week, your source for all the news, reviews, and interviews from in and around the Elite Dangerous Galaxy. My guest today is Alec Turner, and he's here to talk about the Signs of Life, the new race from the Buckyball Race Club. I wanted to have him in especially to go over this race and sort of a little bit more about the Buckyball Racers, because you're going to be hearing more about them in the months to come. So, let's jump right into it. Alec, tell us all about this race.
So this race, it's our 71st race, actually. We haven't had one for a while. I think the last one was in January, so we've had a bit of a lull. That kind of happens, and then suddenly we've got a whole bunch. It's really exciting. So yeah, it's called Signs of Life, and it's being organised by a long-time buckyball racer called Edelgard von Rhein. The race takes place out in the kind of Guardian space, so Guardian sites are, and more interestingly for this race, all the Braintree sites.
Yeah, down there in the Sinew.
Yeah, that's the place. Okay, so there's a little bit of role play in the build up to the race that people could hop on the Zende Partners Megabus to get out to the start line. But it's not necessary. If you've got a decent jump range, you get there in 10 minutes. It's all right.
Yeah.
So the idea of the race is we've got two classes. We always have a regulation class. The idea is that everyone's on an equal footing. They're running the same ship, exactly the same build. And the idea is that it's reasonably cheap, so we're not excluding people who haven't made billions yet. So the regulation class is a DBX, and there's an unlimited class where you can run whatever you want, engineered as much as you want.
So the DBX on the limited class, that is unengineered. That's a stock DBX, or can you A-rate it? Or
no, there's a full outfitting. So on the forum thread it describes it. There's a Coriolis link. It's got like a B grade fuel scoop, which is probably the most expensive component. There's no Guardian FSD, but it's not bad. It's got a jump range of about 35, I think, something in that region.
Right, and thoughtfully you've got here that you can get it at Scully Station with the 15% discount for Leon Reese, so that'll help out new players.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, what I did with mine is I built mine back in the bubble and then flew out here in my long-range DBX and then had it shipped out. But whatever, it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the fun of the race is the logistics of how do I get what I want to where I need it. Every aspect of the race is interesting. So the idea of this race, so for the regulation DBX, you've got half an hour, and for the unlimited class, you've got an hour. And in that time, so you're sat on the landing pad ready to go. The start line is, there's either an outpost in the system or there's actually the Zende Partners mega ship. You can start on either of those. And whatever time you fancy, so suppose it's coming up now to like 4:15 here, so you say, right, I'm going to go at 16:15. You've got everything set up, you're on the landing pad. So on that time, 16:15, you take off, and you then have to visit and scan as many different signs of life as you can. And then when the half hour's up for the regulation class, you head back to the start line. So signs of life, they can be things like brain trees, and I think there's about 6 variants of that. They can be, the mollusks that you find in stellar phenomena. They can be the little
big melons.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, melons, pumpkins, whatever you want to call those things. Bark mounds. Not so many of those out in this region of the galaxy, but bark mounds, and even the little sentinels that scoot around Guardian sites.
Okay, they count. All right.
Strangely enough, I think they're AI. I think they're non-organic actually. But let's gloss over that fact.
Well, actually, no. In defense of Mr. Von Rhein, if you read through the lore, the story was that the Guardians, like half of the Guardian society, decided to merge with the AI, so they uploaded themselves into the machines, and then later the remaining Guardians that were there that were biological in nature, the machine decided, I'm done with your shit. I'm going to go ahead and wipe you guys out for the good of the universe. So technically, that AI incorporates a biological component in it.
Okay, cool. All right. So here's another little interesting twist. So you are allowed So let's take a particular type of brain tree. So you've got, I think they're called Rosium brain trees.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find a planet and it's got 20 biological sites on it, you can't just go and scan all 20 because they'll all be Rosium brain trees. You can't have, so the ruling is you can't have more than one of the same type of life in any given system. You can fly to 5 different systems and scan a Rosium brain tree in each, and that'll get you 5 points. But you can't go to one planet and scan 5 Rosium brain trees on the same planet. That'll only get you 1 point.
Right.
So then, where it gets quite interesting, and this is partly preparation, I was doing this last week, but people have got plenty of time to still do this now, is you need to basically plan your route. So in regulation, you've got your 35 light year jump range DBX. Now, bear in mind, if you take 2 jumps to get from planet 1 to planet 2, where you've got your life signs, that's 2 minutes. So if you can do that in 1 jump, you've saved an entire minute, and that can be a lot in a buckyball race. So it then becomes a matter of working out which planets you're going to visit. Sometimes, if you get lucky, you might find 2 different types of brain tree on the same planet. So then you've got to make notes and go, okay, biological site 3 has got this kind, and biological site 7 has got this kind. So I need to land, and you have to figure out things like, is it faster to take off from site 3, orbit around the planet, land at site 7, or is it actually faster to leave, to hyperspace jump to somewhere else and hyperspace back again? A lot of people think it's quicker, you know, you might imagine it's quicker to just fly around the planet, but that can take ages, escaping gravity and getting back into it. So there's
theoretically, you could even find somebody who said, hey, look, I found 2 jumps out, which I know that's a drain on your time to make the 2 jumps. I found a planet that's got 3 different, things in one spot. I think that it's worth it for me. I'm going to jump out there. I'm going to scan the 3, self-destruct, and pop back up at the Zendi, and then from there fly to another spot.
Okay. We should probably chip in on that, and I don't know if it's explicit in the rules, but we've kind of outlawed self-destructing to get back to the start line. That's a bit of a That's a bit of a no-no. I think people generally know when what they're doing is probably against the code of conduct, if you like.
If it was a kind of a race where you were going from point to point to point, then for sure I would see the self-destructing being, very much verboten. I didn't know that was, because since this one isn't really about getting from a location to a location, but just the total number of specimens you collect. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I thought that it might be okay.
I suspect it's not. The final thing I should say is that there's then a tiebreaker. So when your half hour's up, so you can carry on flying to planets and scanning life signs until the half hour's up. As soon as the half hour's up, then you've got to get back to the start line, and your total time from when you first took off to when you landed is like the tiebreaker. So,
then it would make it sense that this, now saying that the self-destruct I don't think should be allowed, because then people could use that to break the tiebreaker.
So it's interesting. I think especially in the regulation DVX, I think the number of life signs people are going to scan will be, I think we'll get a lot of people with like 6 or 5 so the tiebreaker is going to be really important, I think. We shall see. This is day 2. We only have 1 scoreboard so far, with 1 entry from me and the regulation and 1 entry from Sulu and Unlimited. So who knows? Nobody yet knows. Nobody yet knows what everyone else has been working on. So it's going to be very interesting to see the times start rolling in.
Well, I mean, that's the beautiful thing of a buckyball race, though, in that, like, it's people looking at it and figuring out different ways to attack the problem. And one guy might, do it in a ship that is sort of more engineered for fast speed, like in regular space or as you're coming into the planet or whatever, whereas the next guy might sort of give up a little bit of that speed for more jump range because he's figured out a way to for the unlimited class.
It's all really subtle. I mean, those things are real factors, because in this race you're going down to planet surfaces. Having something like a nice speedy Imperial courier could well help you get out of mass lock, quickly and get away to the next place. But on the other hand, you're sacrificing that jump, and you might be hitting 2 jumps where you could do it in 1, and so it's all really
that's a minute
trade-offs. Yeah, that's a minute. And in this race, in fact, I don't think I'm giving away too much to say that I've already found that fuel management can gain you a minute or two as well.
Nice, very cool. So, just to help first timers who aren't into this, let's clarify, because you said it, but I want to say it like explicitly, directly, bluntly clear, so that there's no misunderstanding. For new people who are thinking like, maybe I want to try this, but I don't really want to because I'm going to be embarrassed because these guys are all like hot rod motherfuckers and they're going to leave me in the dust. That's not how Buckyball works. How Buckyball works is it's timed trials. So you're not sitting against the line. You're not sitting at the starting line against Alec Turner and about to look foolish. You just go out, you start it at any point, like Alec said. You take a picture, a screenshot, right? Unless you're videoing it. Some people video it.
Some people video the whole run and then grab their screenshots from stills and the video afterwards. That's the easiest way.
Right. But regardless of how, like if you video or not, which is optional, but you take a screenshot of your starting point and time, make sure that the time is visible. And then from there, you're not racing against Alec Turner. You're racing against you. So if you do it and you take a half hour and you get 4, like you might say, okay, I'm going to scope this out. I'm going to do a little research. I'm going to come back to it tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow in that same half hour, you get 6 or 8 or whatever. But the point is you're not racing against Alec. You're racing against you. And the spirit of the Buckyball racers, when I go to their Discord and I see them, there's nobody that's like, haha, you suck. I did 3 times more than you. It's all very much like, oh, that's awesome. You shaved 30 seconds off of your time here. Oh, that's awesome. You got an extra side. You got an extra thing. It's much more geared towards there's some friendly banter and competition at the higher level, but much more so the spirit is in you're competing against you and you're trying to just better your time.
Absolutely. It really is about that. I mean, it's a great crowd of guys that are involved in it. It's really fun atmosphere. There's, like you say, there's some sort of gentle digging at people, but it's all really good natured. We've never ever had any sort of serious competitive kind of spirit that spoils the atmosphere. It's all just fun. And
also
you're trying to beat your own time. And the thing is, you will make mistakes. Even having done it for 5 years, that first run, the first 2 or 3 runs, you'll make mistakes. You'll fumble the keys, or you'll plot the wrong way, or you'll run out of fuel halfway because you're cutting it too fine, or so then you immediately want to run again because you've already made the mistakes.
And that's great.
Yeah.
If you had a game that you did perfect on the first try, how fucking boring would that be? The whole point is you run it for half an hour, you screw up here. You kind of take a real sort of to be honest with yourself. It's just you and you. So there's no, don't justify it with excuses or whatever. Just say, fuck, I blew that turn, or, oh man, if I would have scooped this just a little better, I could have come offline at this location, whatever. And then you make those tweaks, and then you're gaming against you.
Absolutely. And because it's a time trial, there's a few things I really like about the time trial nature of it. It means you don't have to be able to be there at 7 p.m. on Tuesday or whenever it is the race is going to be. You've got all week, and what that means is any hour, any day this week, if you've got half an hour, 40 minutes, you can go out and do another run and see if you can improve your time up until midnight next Sunday. And the nice thing is, as well, for me personally anyway, is you get to fail in private.
Yeah.
I like, I'm not, well, in a way I am competitive, but I don't like failing in front of other people, especially when you're new at something. I'm sure, like a lot of other people, I'm wary about joining in something. One of the reasons I've not really dived into CQC is I just know it's going to be as embarrassing as hell because everyone else is going to be really good because they've been doing it for, most people in CQC will have been doing it a long time. And the nice thing about Buckyball racing and time trial is you get to, if you're new, you get to fail in private, and then just give it a go, give it another go. Even if your final time is not good, just submit it. Everyone will be really helpful. They'll tell you where you went wrong. Typically at the end of a race, everyone will share their routes and their route planning and their thought processes and how they improve their times. You learn so much and you have so much fun, and it's just such a great change of pace from the somewhat meaningless grind that this game can sometimes be. There's real purpose to everything you do and real improvement, and it feels to me anyway like it's not just a number like how many credits you've got. It feels meaningful.
Right on.
Yeah.
And just because you talked about, for new players, how it's so new player friendly, just again to reiterate, before when we were talking about how there is some back and forth banter or whatever, I want to go out of my way to ease people's worry. That banter that's going back and forth, that's mostly at the top level. You've got Alec and Shay and Terror Dzik and whatever making little jokes at each other. But for the new people, when you see somebody that they're brand new at this and they're like, well, I posted this, you guys got all, the top racers got to 12 waypoints. I only got to 7. I don't know. Everybody will be
will be nothing but supportive, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Everybody's like, oh my God, you got 7. That's awesome for your first run. Here, if you try maybe this and this and this, try this, and maybe you can get to 9 or whatever. And it's very, very, very supportive of the new players.
Definitely.
Right on. All right. So another thing, an issue or an aspect of the Buckyball race that I want to highlight is that this is, for most of the Buckyball races, there are some exceptions, like the Key to the Carrier race that's coming up soon. But this one here, Signs of Life, the race goes until this Sunday, and that's a thing. So try to get in and get it done by this Sunday. But let's say you're a brand new player who just started playing Elite a week ago, and you're hearing this in the year 2022 because you just started then, and you've I'm going to look up Elite Dangerous podcast, and you see this. There's nothing stopping you, if you don't even, people that are coming to the game later, there's nothing that's stopping you from trying this at that point too. It exists forever. It's there. You can go back.
You know what? You are dead right. I've never heard anyone doing that, but I have pointed this out to people. In our Discord server, we have a channel called Past Events. I mentioned that this is our 71st race. So in Past Events right now, there are 70 separate races, and each one has a little race banner, a little bit of artwork, and a link. And if you click on the link, it will take you to the forum thread. The forum thread, every single one of those 70 races is still there. Full description of the rules and the final leaderboards.
Yeah,
so if you're bored, come in the Discord, scroll through Past Events, pick a race you like the sound of, go and have a go. See if you can beat any of the times.
Absolutely. So in the show notes, I'm going to include a link to the Buckyball Discord. I'm going to include a link to the press release for this specific race, the Signs of Life, which is on the Frontier forums. And yeah, man, go out there, join the Buckyball Discord. There's so many people in this game, and I'm going to admit, let's be honest. There has been, we're on the tail end of a little bit of a content drought. The fact that tomorrow is the the start of the second beta for fleet carriers, which are sort of a big content addition to the game, and New Era is just sort of around the corner. There's awesome stuff coming, but we have been in a little bit of a period here where there hasn't been as much new stuff added to the game. And you often hear from people like, well, I'm bored, well, I'm this, well, I'm that. And the fact of the matter is what Alec just said is there's a Discord you can go, you can click on the link, and for free, you can get a total of 71, including this one. So 70 past ones or whatever, and this, or 72, whatever, I lost track of the number, but you can get a massive amount of cool challenges that are basically as user-friendly, because I mean, it's not like, oh, well, you fail and your ship blew up. Like, no, you can fail horribly, just learn from it, try again. But it's like chess. It's easy to learn, it's hard to master. It's easy for anyone to go out there and do the Science of Life and get like, well, okay, I found 2. All right, cool. But the guys that are like, oh, I got to 9 or I got to 12, that's you're talking higher level. Like, man, this can be hours and hours and hours of fun for you, of all kinds of new challenges. So going back to my old statement, if you're bored, then you're boring. There is so much stuff to do in this game. Get out there, join the Buckyball Racers Discord, look at all of the races. Put this one first, because this one's the one that's the hotness now. This is the new. This is what everybody should be like hyped for today. But like a month from now, a week from now, if you're listening to this and you're like, shit, I'm in Colonia, I'm not going to be back for a month. Okay, it'll be there in a month. Hit up the Buckyball Racers Discord there. Do your run. Give it your best shot. Go into their chat and actually talk about like, hey man, I just did this past event from a year ago and hey, I got a pretty good time, And I'm guarantee you there's going to be guys that were there that did that a year ago, or even the guy who created or gal who created that race is going to be like, oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you had fun with it. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? It's fun shit, man. There's lots of stuff in there.
Yeah, I would love to see somebody pop in the Discord and say, I've just decided to try, I don't know, the Aquarian job or 4001: A Space Odyssey or one of our really old games. They're such fun.
Yeah, man.
I'd be more than willing to chat about that and to tell you how to improve. And the only thing I'd say is obviously with those past events, you probably won't get your name on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
The scoreboards are frozen in time. We do have a bunch of standing challenges where people are, these are challenges that are going to run forever, as far as, or until we give up. So the most well-known one is the Sagittarius A-Star run. But there's about Speaking of, actually, I did want to just mention that.
Yes.
Well, one thing I wanted to say is that just because a lot of us have been doing this for 5 years does not mean we're unassailable. And we do get new guys who just turn up out of the blue, never heard, don't recognize the commander name. And there's still a chance if you're competitive. And I would say if you're determined, and I think determined is maybe the strongest quality you need here, is just to try again and try again and try again. That will get you to the top. Eventually that will get you to the top. We've had guys turn up. So we've had a guy now, I think of him as, I forget his full name.
Yeah.
But he's just been persistently chipping away at that Souls of Sagittarius A-Star run. And as of last week, well, officially today on the records, he is now the fastest pilot in the galaxy. He's taken the record from Commander Alec, which is extraordinary. I mean, extraordinary.
And meanwhile, I think Alec's got something to say about that. Why don't you hit that up?
Alec's coming back at him, which is so Alec's, he's been quite a while. He's been a long time holder of the Sagittarius A-Star record. Whenever anyone takes it, he usually comes back. But he's been quite a long time. But as soon as this guy posted the record, Alec's coming at you, Goose.
Yeah, man. And I love that. Like that harkens back to the great racing spirit of like Formula One or whatever, with these like Le Mans or whatever, where you see these like these epic stories of like two racers that are like determined, like, no man, I'm the fastest. And as soon as A beats B gets out there and shaves a few seconds off and beats A, and then A's got to get back out there and beat B, and it's just a cycle of awesome that like.
And harking back to what we said, all good spirited, Alec and Goose.
Oh yeah.
Although they're coming for each other, it's really friendly, and it's going to be just such a great to watch these two guys.
Dude, when you have a situation like that where it's two guys that are gunning for each other, I would be willing to bet, and this doesn't always work out this way, but most of the time with good racers, and obviously these guys both are, it works out that a year from now, if these guys go back and forth over the next year, killing themselves over and over and over to beat each other, a year from now, if you ask, who's your best friend in the game? He's going to say, that guy over there, that motherfucker, he keeps making me go better. Right. It's awesome. That's like the perfect spirit. That is the race spirit, man.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, because we're going to have you back in over the next 4 months, for each one of these. But real quick, just give me the highlights on the races coming up over the next 4 months. We've got the next one is, is the next one the Key to the Carrier, or?
Okay, well, let's get the. Let me just get the calendar up here. So,
Beautiful.
if you're curious, there's bunches of different ways of finding us. So, where I'm currently looking is we have a website. It's a bit old-fashioned, but I still maintain it with the important stuff. So it's buckyballracing.org.uk. And there's a banner at the top when there's a race imminent. So right now it says Signs of Life, and if you click on that, it will take you to the details of the current race. And then right underneath it is upcoming events calendar. So what we have currently, Signs of Life now. In June, we have a thing called the Engineers Cortez.
Yes. And then Keys. Okay. So tell me about the Engineer Cortez Mixture.
So that's Terracidic. I don't know a huge amount about the details. It's a play on words, ECM, and it's kind of the idea that there's a convention and you're ferrying the engineers back home. So basically, it'll be a tour of some of the engineers' bases, which are very cool locations.
Nice.
With some extra little challenges thrown in, I think. And then in July is me, and I'm organising a race called Keys to the Carrier. I'm not going to say too much about that.
All right.
What I will say is it's a race I've wanted to run for a while. But one of the problems is sometimes the races I like, I quite like to challenge some aspect of skill. And one of the dangers is that if you end up with a lot of distance in your races, so one of the races that I've done several of now is called Total Recall, which is about landing at really interesting bases, getting in the SRV, driving away from the base, recalling your ship, and jumping off to the next one.
Right.
And for me, that race should be about landing and driving, and it should test those skills. The danger is that the interesting bases that you want people to go to are all so far apart that basically who wins is the person who's got the best jump range. And that is kind of true of Keys to the Carrier. I had a race I wanted to run, but there were some distances involved that meant I was worried that the person with the biggest jump range would win it, and that is not what it was supposed to be about. And being able to place a carrier will basically help me to solve that problem.
Interesting. Very interesting. So what we're saying here is that we found yet another way that fleet carriers are adding a different flavor to the Elite Dangerous Galaxy.
Yeah. For me,
couldn't help that one.
Portable start-finish line, certainly for this.
Sure.
One. I'm sure there'll be other things we'll do with it. And finally, I think it might be September. I love the title of this race. It's called Real Men Race in Lederhosen. And this is from Ashnak, and is again a really interesting theme where you basically have to predict in advance your time. And then you set off. So suppose I think I can do the run in 37 minutes. So I will then set off at 23 minutes past the hour, which gives me 37 minutes to get to the finish line before the hour, okay? If I get there faster, I get the time I said I would get. So if I get there in 35 minutes, I get 37.
So this is basically
go over the hour, then I get until the next hour. So if I take 38 minutes, my time is going to be 1 hour and 38.
Okay. So this has the aspect to it of some of the great old card games of like Hearts or Spades or whatever, where you actually have to bid, and like cribbage or whatever, you have to bid, and then you have to now, like, it's one of those, your ego wrote a check, now your ass has to cash it.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Because I love the fact that the idea that what the time you get, assuming you are under the hour, is the time you predict. So you might you might do a scorching run and knock 10 minutes off your time. You won't get those 10 minutes
unless you bid low.
So then you think, do I bid 10 minutes lower the next time and try and beat? It's going to be. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be great.
That sounds awesome, and I very much look forward to that. All right, so wrapping it up, we've got those are the races that are coming right now. Active right now is the Signs of Life. I will have in the show notes the Discord link for the Buckyball Racers Discord, the website for the Buckyball Racers, which is buckyballracing.org.uk. And I will have the link also for the Frontier Forums press release on this particular race. Get out there and get it done, guys.
All right, beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Landing gear retracted.
The wings and the rebuy did with the small ship to big. It's the first past the post. Everybody's lined up, staring at the slot gap, smiling at those glasses with the Top Gun figures on. Pitchfork waving at the neutron thruster. Boy boost to the max as we skittle off the toaster rack. Turn, maybe turn before you even think about it. Gotta be slick like an oil tank spewing it. We got the speed and need. We're racing around the galaxy. Hop on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying high. We got the speed and need, we're racing around the galaxy. Hop on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying. So you learn the way of a boost addict, waiting for the charge lines, even when you're sleeping in your bed. In your head, all you see is a raceway turning, pulling on that boost finger in your dreams. Get in the flow like a neutron, but boy, you know they're gonna hit you if you get in their way. Spin like a record, baby, FAI% you crazy. This is the whip crack and you're slow ass. We got the speed need, we're racing around the galaxy. Hop on board with the elite racers, everyone's flying high. Jump in the game that's the Sandy Ring Raceway, lose an ego as a Lano too. The Farseer Classic makes you feel quite tragic, but you finally get that feeling, yeah, you chasing on the back at the Squirrel Nest Bar, we're racing to the front of Corrado too. You set the pace at the Kuiper Raceway, everybody talking about you.